makes sense.
We in the building. Got my man Shem here. How you doing, my guy?
I'm doing well, bro. I'm doing well. It's good to see you.
Likewise,
how are you doing,
man? I'm good. It's been a long time since we linked up.
It's 2021 last time.
Was it 2021?
I think it was at the
just upstairs.
Yeah. When I brought Kai in.
Damn.
I think that was the last time.
Damn.
Yeah, that's how quick that time goes. Hey, like
a year plus.
Yeah.
Wow, bro. So shoot, you want to introduce yourself?
I mean, yeah. Let's get it. Entrepreneur, local leader, just trying to like build and grind and create a legacy. My name is Shemora Davy. I'm born in Jamaica, but I came here at a young age, and this has been my home, KW. And I've known you since grade 2, I think, grade 1 or 2.
Yeah,
go way back, and it's just here in KW, developing and building businesses and trying to inspire people
where you're at.
Exactly, right, and just establishing. But it's good to be here. It's good to be in this new home and your new studio. Like, it's
Appreciate
a vibe
it.
here, bro.
You brought by some goods.
Yeah. Kure Alkaline Herbs. We gotta stay healthy. Health is wealth.
That's you want to pull those up? I don't even think the camera can see.
Oh, that's all good.
So what do we got there?
We got some iron supplement. This is sarsaparilla root. It's one of the most powerful iron herbs in the world. Wow. So like it's very powerful for like cleansing the blood and like skin issues like psoriasis and eczema. Yeah, so it's powerful. Okay. Dr. Sebi's one of Dr. Sebi's like favorites.
Okay.
Most recommended.
Sarsaparilla root.
Sarsaparilla root. Yeah. It's an old root beer. I found out the other day that's actually what they used to make root beer out of.
Really?
Is a sarsaparilla. So even when you make it, you notice that it has like a bit of like a root beer taste when you sweeten it with like a natural sweetener.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. What do we got?
Some
here?
ginger root. This is a classic, but this is like from Nigeria. So
word.
It's like, you're getting like the quality of like the organic, the fair, like that fair trade, the community vibe. It's not like the industrialized.
Right.
So this is like the real deal.
Okay.
Yeah. Ginger root. Good for like inflammation and all that.
Yeah. Keeping the stomach in check too.
Keeps the stomach in check. Yeah, and nausea, like things
if you do those mushrooms.
Hey.
Mess with your stomach, you gotta get a little bit of ginger.
That's it. Settle it down a little bit.
Yeah.
And this is Medina. This is actually a sex drive enhancer. Like this is like one of Jamaica's most popular herbs.
Okay.
That's why I got so many kids.
Yeah, straight up.
But yeah, this one's good. This is we just launched this one, so trying to get it out there.
That's a new one.
This is a new one.
Okay.
Yeah. For the gentlemen out there. So the man them. Yeah.
You already know what's popping.
That's what's up.
Man, that's real. How long have you been doing this now? A few years?
About a year and a half, a little bit over a year and a half. Yeah. On and off, because it's more just been like a side project.
Right.
So like, sometimes I'll even put it on the shelf for like a month or two, because it's like developing. I gotta prioritize something else in the meantime.
Right. This is not your full-time gig.
It's not the full-time gig. It's just more like the stuff has to get out to the people.
Absolutely. Health is wealth, baby.
Yeah, health is wealth. That's exactly what it is.
And that's something that you've been preaching for a long time. You started out as an entrepreneur doing fitness.
Mm-hmm.
Was that your first entrepreneurial venture?
It wasn't my first. It actually, it came later down the road. I'd say my first, I was 12.
Really?
Yeah. I was 12. So I started off by like playing the Roller Coaster Tycoon. So I used to play that a lot, and I used to just sit there and observe. Like, you build this theme park, you put like the little vendors everywhere, and you watch people's reaction. They start spending money. You watch they're sad, they're happy, they're excited, and you make the changes. That I think was like the first experience, because that actually excited me, like more than playing like James Bond or like anything like that. Like I would rather go sit on the computer and go like build theme parks.
Yeah. Marketplace things going on.
Marketplace, you see the bank account going up. You're like, okay, things are lit around here.
Right, and then not knowing back then, that's going to transfer into real life knowledge and potential skills.
Very transferable, because that turned into like right after that, around like 12 years old, like I started to do door to door knocking on people's door to shovel their driveway.
Right.
And
Classic.
that's when it really turned into real money, because I was like, oh, every driveway that I got was like 10, 15 bucks. If it was a bigger one, I was able to like quote too, okay, this one's big, you know, like
Right.
I need 20 bucks at least for this. And this is like, you know, at like 12, 13 years old, just trying to like figure it out. But some days I come back with like 80 bucks.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Oh
like,
my
yo,
goodness.
this is
As a
lit.
kid?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man.
You know, it's money still. So that's where it started, and it hasn't stopped. I've never been able to actually work a job. I never had a 1 year anniversary at any job
Wow.
ever. You know, I think 9 months was the longest, and it wasn't because I didn't like to work or that I was like incompetent. It was more because my mind was always running with the creativity.
Yeah.
And like was always ahead.
Yeah.
So I would get really good at the job I'm doing, and I'm like, yo, I'm bored, you know,
Wow.
or this doesn't like excite me, and then I would just
On to the next.
on to the next.
Right.
And so it was just one job after another, and I just could always get another job. So I was like, yeah, I'm out, peace, you know, like.
You kind of realize like it's a confidence builder when you realize how like self-sufficient you can actually be when you put your mind.
It's not like I gotta have this job, I can't lose it. No, it's like if I gotta move on to the next because it doesn't feel right, I gotta move on to the next, you know. And that, I think, helped me move into entrepreneurship earlier.
Yep.
Because I was by the time I think I was 21 years old when I went full-time entrepreneurship, and this is like I'm paying my own self, like I'm generating all the revenue, like, you know, like flipping things out of my apartment, you know, like, and I was confident with that.
Yep.
You know, I didn't look back after that because there's already all those years. It's like what they say, the 10,000 hour rule.
Right.
The 10,000 hours was already like at that point was already like, you know, very close.
Right.
Because
and early on, you probably, it sounds like you came in with an abundance mindset, being like, yo, there's enough out there that I can go get whatever at any time if I just apply myself.
Absolutely.
You were never coming from a place of lack, like, oh, I can't do this. It came pretty natural.
For sure.
Was there any like early influences or any like, did you think you got any traits passed down to you from your parents that kind of instilled that mindset, or was it just kind of your experience just going out in the field on your ones?
It was a mix. It was a mix of it. It was a mix of both. You know, my dad, as a carpenter, we used to work and watch and build furniture. So work with them, build furniture in our home.
Wow.
So like, this was in the basement, you know, and this was like high-end furniture too. So it was watching like the artistry, watching like the entrepreneurship aspect of it and seeing that.
Okay.
And then, you know, and then I think from that, there's always, I was very athletic as a kid. And even though I didn't really have a lot of influencers around me saying, yo, you should do this, you should do that, good job with this, you know, like it wasn't a lot of that, but I could see it in myself. I'm like, yo, I'm fast as fuck. You know, like, and I knew it, you know. So that was something that was really helped with my confidence, because I knew I could take my shoes off anywhere in the street. I'm like, yo, who wants to race right now? I'll smoke you. And 99% of the times that was the outcome. So that I just knew, like, that's something I'm really good at.
A little bit of competitive aspect in there too,
For sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Just to own those bragging rights too, and just like, you know, I don't know how many losses you took in those races. It didn't sound like too many, but if you did, it was like, shit, I'll get them on the next one.
On the next one, you know, but that from an early age, you know, I was able to like that you said that big picture abundance mindset. I knew, like, in grade 4, I would say to myself, because I was so fast. I was the fastest kid in the school in grade 4, you know. So I just knew, like, yo, one day I'm gonna become the fastest person in the world. And I used to say this to myself, and I was serious about it. I'm like, yo, I'm gonna be the fastest person in the world. And I just believed it.
That's what it takes, man. Like, I've seen kind of a little bit behind the scenes on how you get busy with your business, VTC
Energy Solutions,
and you write down everything. You make sheets and templates. You get it all out of your head. You plan. you see the big picture, like you were talking about. I think like it's really important to make sure that you're always just taking notes and always kind of tracking that progress along the way.
Getting things out of your head too, because
Yeah.
it's so easy for things to become cluttered. Like especially if you're a visionary, as a visionary, your mind is naturally way ahead.
Right.
So it's so easy to fumble in the present when you're always 2, 3, 4, 5 years ahead.
Yeah. What have you done to manage that?
I would say having the right people around me. So like my business partner at VTC, he is very detail oriented. So where I'm like, let's go, hit the ground running. He's like, yo, chill. You know, we gotta make sure, like make sure.
Right.
You know, and that like really help balance it out because I don't necessarily have to stop with the big picture vision, but I have that constant feedback and that constant, you know, guidance from like the present moment, from like the details and those traits just kind of interchange, and it's just the right people around you.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of knowing where somebody else, you know, you can delegate some work, something that I'm not saying that that's a weakness of yours, but might not be kind of where your energy is placed, where somebody else can take that those tasks.
I delegate that over. Like completely, you know, because I want to stay in that visionary, that fire, you know. So it's good to like it's very beneficial for, at least for me, I could say that, because it's not something that I really care a whole lot about trying to develop those kind of skills too.
Right.
Like, you know, they say the reason why delegation is important because you don't want to learn everything. You don't need to go out and learn everything. You know, some things you really just have to like leave for somebody else.
Was that difficult for you?
Very.
Yeah.
Very. At the beginning it was, because it was like the first like enterprise type business I'm building. Before it was like, you know, gyms and clothing lines and flipping things, where this is now like, this was a lot more serious.
Big business.
It was big business. So I'm like, you know, to let go of a lot of that, it took a few years.
Yeah.
It took a few years. That trust.
It's your baby, right?
Yeah.
Leaving someone with your baby.
Yeah. It took a few years, but once like it clicked, I was able to really step out of my own way.
I can only imagine there's some things where you finally get that one goal accomplished that you've kind of been pondering how to get done for years sometimes, and you're like, damn, like if I would have done this 5 years ago. It's one of those things where sometimes it's a little bit of a mindset shift in the midst of all that, right? Let's get into that a little bit. Like
the mindset.
Yeah, man. Like I can imagine. How many employees do you have now?
Well, we're more on like a contractor basis. So like everyone that works with us, we set it up like everyone's working for themselves.
Right.
So even like our admin team, like they're technically self-employed, you know?
Yep.
And I love it like that because everyone is so independent.
Yeah.
You know, so there's a team of us, there's about 5 of us, the main team, but everyone's so independent.
Do you find that when you give them that room to breathe, with them knowing that you trust them, do you find that they perform better as opposed to you kind of being like micromanaging? When you let them know, hey, I'm leaving this with you, I'm trusting this with you, do you find that they're more on top of it, like taking that on like their own?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that with, you know, when you find the right people. So it took us a long time to find this like lean team.
Yeah.
You know, we took we went through a lot of people to get to this point, but when you find the right people, it's ideal to do that. Because even like you mentioned before we started recording, you know, you the people you're working with, it's like it's like when you understand like they really know what they're doing. You got to get out of their way.
I agree.
You have to get out of their way, because and we've seen it. We've seen it within the company. Like sometimes I'll go days without speaking to them, but I can check our CRMs. I can see everything going on, but we don't necessarily need to like talk. You know, if anything, they're calling me if they need something, but they know I'm available all the time. I'm rarely ever having to like call them because the systems are in place and they work from home. You know, I never even met them.
Right.
You know, it's like, but they're killing it. You know, it's
and I can imagine that definitely comes down to going through the process of finding the right people, and that's really what it comes down to, that synergistic chemistry.
100%. It just fits like a puzzle, you know. And when you take the time to do it, I mean, at the beginning when we first started, it was just anyone, you know, everyone, anyone that kind of clicked. It's like, you know, it's the doors are more open. But over time and the experiences and like the wisdom that you gain from just bringing on the wrong people or bringing on people too prematurely, you learn, you know. You hopefully, and I hope so.
Or else it's best of luck. But
best of luck, you know.
Do you think about a lot about the mindset of the people that you work with too, and just kind of see where they're at, whether that's kind of like a check-in on like stuff outside of work, or kind of like opening up those communications, being like, yo, what's really good, or because you know you've got a lot of wisdom that you can share to some of these other, not necessarily newer, but still kind of new to your environment, kind of.
You know, I think when it comes to work is a little different, at least with VTC, because it's less about that, to be honest.
I feel you.
It's less about the, you know, the connect. It's more about like, yo, we're here to grind and work the hardest we've ever worked. And as, you know, one of the leaders, like everything that I do can be seen by the team.
Right.
So all I have to do is wake up and grind hard. I don't even have to talk to anybody.
Right.
They just have to see that my schedule's full and I'm banging off that list.
Lead by example.
And and the whole team just follows suit.
That's huge. That breeds like a real work ethic and culture in your environment, man.
No one's gonna outwork me. You know, like and in the process of that, everyone gets better.
Right.
Because everyone now has to work at their peak efficiency and performance.
Right.
In order to like, otherwise you get quickly weeded out.
It's easy for a lot of times in corporate environments to look at the boss, and just a lot of times it looks like they're not doing much, and sometimes they're not. They've got less work the higher they climb. But I mean, it's kind of the reverse on your end. It seems like, you know, you're doing the most.
Do the most, exactly.
But it seems like you're working on the business more than you're working in the business. Would you say that now, or you're still like really in it?
I'm still very much in the business. Although like there's a very like stronger aspect of like working on the business. But I there's also like a part of it where, again, a lot of that work on the business is delegated to like my business partner.
And systemized.
Right? Yeah, because that's his strength. Is you know, building systems.
Okay.
And making things more efficient, pinpointing everything. And I used to find that find that shit annoying. I'm like, yo, like, we're doing good. He's like, no, we're not. He's like, we're gonna go bankrupt in 3 weeks if we don't do this, and that. And like, and he'd be able to see that. And I'm like, and over time, I would get less frustrated when I would hear that, and I would just listen. I'm like, damn, yo. And I'd just go back to my office, sit at my desk, and just dive in. Like, okay, we got to resolve this, because like he said, like, if we don't, like, we're under fire.
Right.
And always having that voice, it's like it keeps that flow going. But and it's always coming from like a logical, very calculated standpoint, and that comes back to, you know, having his strength play out in that area.
That analytical mind.
Very, yes.
Yeah, that's fire. You want to talk a little bit about VTC? We've been kind of going around it, but never really talked on what exactly your business is. Let the people know.
For sure. So we specialize in LED lighting. So we do retrofitting for commercial industrial businesses. So we work with like government programs to incentivize these upgrades. But
right.
Our biggest strength is that we streamline everything. So we work with these businesses and offer consulting. So we go from from the initial lead generation to the consulting. We build their proposals to really reflect like different savings and rebates and all that, and then we take it right through to the install.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it's A to Z. Like we call them up, and we can have them installed in like 3 weeks. It's.
What made you want to look at the entire process as opposed to just one part of it? Did it just make the most sense?
It made the most sense.
Yeah.
Because what I was finding was that business owners weren't really taking advantage of these rebates.
Okay.
They're just there, and we would talk to hundreds of businesses like within a couple of days, like within like a week span, like hundreds of businesses, and none of them really knew about this. We're like, how do you not know about this? This is free money the government's giving you to upgrade your lighting in different parts of your business. So that in the beginning was sort of like the cue to like solve a problem.
Yes.
These people don't know about all these like mom and pop shops, like no one's really tending to them.
Right.
So the idea was that we would bring these solution packages to them and make it easy for them to upgrade, and offer financing and offer like payment plans and
wow,
like completely streamlined and customized, so that way they can make a decision on it a lot quicker.
Amazing. Yeah, I look at my situation at the studio here and I'm like, okay, I write, I make beats, I record, mix, master. I can help out with distribution. I can literally help out with people on every single part of the process and provide value.
So you can take like an artist and, especially like an up and coming artist, and and work with them and give them that platform.
Whatever stage you're in that process of creating that song, I can lend a hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I can imagine too, like as your team grows, like that's just going to be even more, because you already had what I find was when you have it's again back to like having that visionary mindset, you're already way ahead, you're already further ahead in the vision than what you can accomplish in the now.
Yeah, it's I'm trying to battle that a little bit and figure out, okay, I'm looking at the macro, but in the day-to-day, how can I really move the needle forward every single day, just a little bit? There's so many mundane tasks. You ever see like that matrix, the urgent and important matrix, and just trying to prioritize those tasks and
like
making
that 80-20.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What do you find is like the thing that makes the most sense to spend like the majority of the day on? Like I guess it comes down to like what generates revenue.
Content creation for social.
Okay.
So pretty much just marketing and promotion, letting people know we're relevant, letting people know the services that we can offer and how we can take somebody who's just starting out, build with something from nothing situation. We're talking about a transformation, somebody who wants to be an artist and then becoming an artist. We're the gap in between. We'll get you there. So marketing and promotion, and I'm thinking email marketing, CRM.
Email marketing, yeah. Who's like the ideal in that like who would be the ideal type of like people to reach out to? Like are you talking like artists or like establishments?
Mostly we're working with artists. One place where I want to take this is offer podcast services.
That's smart.
So now that's a whole, like now we can start hitting up corporations. like tech people, teachers, anybody outside of traditional artists and broadcasters. You know, the average person might have some shit to say.
I see what
whatever
you mean.
that their interest is or their profession. So I'm really looking to take podcast services to LinkedIn and really promote there.
Like creating like a space.
So we have the space
like,
and we have all the tools to do it. So now I'm trying to hit up people, like they might have, them and their friend might be pondering an episode or like a whole show and might not know how to get that done. But it might not be anywhere musically that they might be at.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to start marketing in a whole nother market.
For sure. And that's good because you diversify yourself.
Yeah, and reach a whole different market, not just by providing the service, but by just attaching myself to some good homegrown content, you know, because chances are this is going to be all local residents, but it can open up to so many different, even just doing podcasts with artists, they all have such unique stories. And then I branch out and work with entrepreneurs like yourself, totally different stories. And then, you know, everybody's got a unique story. So just all the different angles, good wholesome content I'm looking forward to in that space.
That's dope. And like and now are you thinking like to have it under like the Track House podcast, or like you're actually helping these individuals build their own podcast? Like, so you're it's almost like a consulting.
Yeah, basically we'll help produce the podcast. You can have your name on it, but we'll just be the studio that.
For sure.
You ever listen to $1 Million?
Like rental? Like a rental studio? Like a.
Yeah, something like you listen to $1 Million worth of game.
Yeah. So
they record or recorded, I'm not sure if they still do, out of Barstool Sports.
Yeah.
Headquarters.
They got a huge deal, no?
Yeah, so I think they might have like a studio with a few different spaces in there where they run podcasts out of. So it's kind of like maybe they're like a sponsor, but it's more so they provide the space. It's coming out under their branch. I'm not too worried about that.
Like the Barstool branch?
But it would be cool for anybody who like, yeah, so like maybe in the episodes, maybe they'll give like a shout out to us or something like that, just to let people know where they're recording it out. Now our name's somewhat tied to it, so that who knows, man, hopefully like the 5 best podcasts coming out of the city are recorded at Trackhouse Studio. That's the goal.
What's up. That's what's up. I've heard something about like like a business model about like opening up like podcast rental studios.
Yeah,
but like it sounds like you want to actually work with them and build them, like from like same way you're building the artists.
Yeah.
But like now you have like you said, like you've opened up like your market.
Yeah. So whether you're looking about how to structure your show, because I've been doing episodes with guests just to figure out the flow, and of course it's content at the end of the day, but it's also a huge learning experience for me. I'm not offering podcast services probably until I do like 50 episodes, you know, just to really know what I'm doing.
For sure.
Figure out all the kinks, but also we go all the way up to the distribution. So we will help you get it on Spotify, figure out, get you an account set up, track your analytics. We can provide theme music,
all the editing,
of course. Yep. And then who knows, like we're doing video now, so the video side, I haven't done too many video podcasts, but it's everybody loves to have the video aspect attached to it, whether they consume it or not.
You hear somebody say, "Yo, I'm watching a podcast."
Right.
It's like, you know, when you hear that, but it's like, yo, that's what you're doing when you're watching like $1 million worth of game. You're watching their podcast.
Yeah, and I think I'm gonna start just calling it a show from now on.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
A little late night.
Yeah. 100%. like the more like free flowing conversations where it's real, it's raw.
That's what I like to do. It usually doesn't result in too much editing anytime we don't overthink it and we just kind of
Exactly.
go off.
Because you don't really want to cut anything out, right? Because it's like it flows.
It flows.
Yeah.
And once there's too many edits, they're like, this is not as authentic, you know. And I want to keep it as raw. Like if editing needs to be done, I'll edit it. But if it doesn't, you know, fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's just keep it real. Like I always have questions to ask people to keep things going. So, I'm not too worried about things getting messy. Like you see, there's only 2 mics. If there was like 6 mics with like 6 speakers, it can get a little messy. But you know,
coordinating and like making sure no one's like over, you know, like yeah.
Right, talking over each other and things like that. We're trying to keep it clean, but yeah, man, let's keep it going.
For sure.
So VTC's going. We've got the herbs. The name of your company is?
Which one?
For the herbs and supplements.
That's Kure Alkaline Herbs.
Kure Alkaline Herbs.
Kure with the K.
Is there a website they can go check it out on?
Yes. They can actually go to kurealkalineherbs.com. They can order, and we ship worldwide.
Shipping worldwide.
Yeah.
What's the website?
kurealkalineherbs.com.
kurealkalineherbs.com.
That's what it is.
Go get right.
Yes, health is wealth.
Yeah, man. You just came back from the gym. You're working out regularly.
On a regular, you know. It's important, you know. I think especially as men, you know, we need to. It's important to be like strong, you know, and to feel that confidence, especially when we're tackling such big, you know, tasks, you know, like and some like we're builders by nature, you know.
Yeah, like
our body is us, and our body is our vibe, it's our energy, and when we can raise that vibration and feel that confidence, it's just transmuted into everything we do.
Man, I just got in the gym, and I'm telling you,
feel the difference.
It's a huge difference just from the feeling that I get from accomplishing the goal, whether that's doing a certain amount of sets, lifting a certain amount of weights, or just fucking showing up.
Exactly.
The feeling of accomplishing a goal, especially because I do it the first thing in the morning. It's the first thing that I do.
Well, like 6 a.m.?
Nah, like I'll get up, go to the gym.
Yeah.
But like I won't do like an evening workout or like an afternoon. Like I'll make it a priority to make that the first thing. And it literally just sets me up for the rest of the day. Like, okay, what's next? Okay, I'm feeling good.
It's crucial.
Oh, I'm fresh. Like I know it's gonna pay off later. So
you got the energy too. Like it's especially when you do in the morning. I find like that energy.
I have more energy.
You have more energy.
Yeah.
It's a little difficult to do. It's harder, I'd say, to do in the evening time, because especially if you have like a more rigorous physical job to try to go after. But in the morning time in general, like you're just getting your whole body like activated, and then that energy isn't wasted because now you're directly transmuting it into something, whatever you're gonna go do. Like and then now it's like a compounding effect.
I noticed that I wake up and before, when I wasn't going to the gym, I'd have energy and it would kind of die off because I wouldn't do anything with it. And I find that when I go to the gym and I leave the gym, I end up having more energy. It's weird. Like, I know I'm not going to see the physical benefits anytime soon, but all the other benefits of my 4 or 5 days going already, I'm happy, bro. Like,
and the physical benefits are, they're kind of important, you know. Like, I'd say when you bring that work ethic into the gym, it just becomes like the byproduct. You know, you get to a point where, okay, that's just the byproduct of me going there, working hard every day, taking the same sort of the same sort of habits that you have in other work,
Right.
and now putting it there, like, you know, you're increasing your weight, or increasing your time on like the cardio machines, or become more flexible, and it's that constant improvement.
Yeah.
You have no other place but to go but become fitter, and to become, like, that's the only place to go if that's your mindset, and
Right.
it's, you apply, you know, it's like I said, it's just a byproduct, you know, of it all, like the health aspect, like the longevity, the vitality, the transmuted energy into like the work that we do to like build our purpose. Like that's key.
Yeah, man. And it's sometimes it's one of those things where you're leading by example again, because some people are like, yo, how has this guy got so much energy? They'll ask you, and you're like, I do this. Let's go into the food, because that ties in with the physical exercise and just being healthy. You're vegan. You've been vegan for
four and a half
years, dog.
Yeah. Going about there, yeah.
You really start to feel.
How about you? It's been what, like 8?
I still eat like cheese and chocolate and shit.
Okay.
But bro, I'm going on like 7-8 years. I lost track.
Yeah.
But it's like 7-8 years. I think
you do lose track after a while.
2015 or 2015. I think it was. So,
what made you like want to, like, what was your biggest
next week will be
inspiration?
8 years, bro.
Yo,
damn
anniversary. What made you want to, like, what was like your inspiration? Like,
so back then, I was still at my first studio space, and I had 2 partners. The overhead was super low, but I was real new to entrepreneurship, and I had poor habits, spending habits. It wasn't going good. I knew that I needed to make a change. It was like, I didn't reach rock bottom, but it might have been my enough's enough moment, where I realized I had to make some sort of change. And what was the first thing? It was meditation. So I started implementing meditation into my routine, and just trying to figure out how to just keep a level head instead of just having a nervous breakdown. So I call it a breakthrough. And it was just, I listened to, I think it was Russell Simmons. He wrote a book about meditation, and he had a meditation app, and it was super basic. It was just a timer with like some humming, and I was like, yeah, I like this. So it made me develop awareness, self-awareness, open-mindedness, self-development, and compassion, bro. And with that came compassion for animals and just life. And then I'm like, okay, just for some reason, veganism just was kind of like next door to meditation in a sense, where I don't know. I just got more into my feelings and more in my head. And I was already really in my head. I smoked a lot of weed when I was down, you know, and that wasn't helpful. Not bashing it, but for me it wasn't helpful. And I had like kind of like digestive problems, and I was always feeling tired and sluggish, and I'm like, okay, I think, so it's February right now. February, like 8 years ago, it was like Super Bowl, you know, and being that we pretty much just finished all the holiday seasons where you're just gluttonous, you know, I was like, yeah, by the time Thanksgiving rolled around the year before, I had already cut out pork, and I cut out beef by then too. So it was pretty much only chicken and fish. And then when Super Bowl came around, I ate like I don't know, half a plate of chicken wings or something like that, and I'm like, this is my last meat eating experience, bro. And ever since then, never went back.
Wow.
Not once.
So it was like that next step of like your spiritual journey.
Yeah, and in the midst of all that, I forgot I left out. I watched some documentaries and read Russell Simmons' Happy Vegan. So it wasn't a choice that I made on my own. There was some influence there, but what
guidance
and education, bro.
Education.
The more I learned, you know, if I knew better, I would do better type of scenario. And I just felt great. I gave myself too many reasons not to. That's why when everybody asks what was it, I'm never like, oh, it was one thing. Some people try and be like, oh, there's got to be one. Nah, like there was too many reasons not to. That was my reason. And
to me that makes sense. You know, I can relate to that.
And I'm a foodie. Like I like everything. There's nothing really that I don't like. So it was easy. For me, it was easy.
Easy to switch?
Yeah.
In what sense? Because wouldn't you feel like you're missing out on like because it's like because the foods that you're probably exposed to, like they were delicious, you know, like you're like, yo, were you cooking? Like were you still like did you start to like explore? Like
I lost a lot of weight at first because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
But the more I read, and really I think it was Russell Simmons' book, The Happy Vegan, that helped me the most. When it came down to like eating for nutrition instead of for taste, that was something that I learned early on and I got over really quick. I ate mad like burritos, like mad peanut butter.
Burritos are good though.
Yeah, so like I started making my own food. So I would do like because everybody says, you know, being vegan is expensive. That's not true.
Not at all.
It's not true. Like
it could be very inexpensive.
Like
very, very inexpensive. You could you could buy a big bag of like chickpeas.
Yeah.
Big bag of lentils. You know,
and you're good.
That's like you can make a lot out of that, like patties, like curries.
Yeah.
Fritters, like.
And I also realized like people are like, yo, cooking. It's not all about cooking, man. Like you don't even have to cook like half the shit that you eat, that you need.
Just raw.
Yeah, you can eat it raw. And
grab a whole bell pepper, wash it, you know.
You can stuff that pepper.
Stuff it, or you could just eat it like that, you know,
right.
Like
chop it up and dip it in some hummus.
And you're good.
Life is good.
And you're good.
So I realized like sustenance, bro, like superfoods and all that stuff. Like they talk about superfoods, but when you realize like there's way more out there than you think that are just like in your regular grocery store, like fruits and veggies are superfoods, man. And you know, like
and there's so many of them.
When you realize like the process that goes into like bologna and shit like that, like you just get turned off, and then you start to hear one thing after another, and you're like, all right, I feel like this is like reaffirming that I made a good decision.
Yeah.
And I feel great. That's my biggest thing. If I didn't feel good, I would consider other options, but you
found the sweet spot.
No temptation whatsoever, bro. Like nothing. Like you can't
try to convince you.
Even on year one, you couldn't. My mind was so made up because I did the research. If you lay all the information out there and give me the option to weigh out these factors,
you'll still be where you're at.
I'd be where I'm at because the proof is, all the info is out there. I know some people get meat from like butchers and stuff like that, and I'm not mad at that. But for me personally, I don't get in my feelings about meat eaters or anything. Like my wife's still a meat eater, bro. Like 8 years we've been together, twice that long. Like I'm not forcing her to get off. I'll crack some jokes and shit, but like you know, like yo, we're living, you know.
That's facts. Like you don't really make your business other people's business. It's like you're on your personal journey.
Yeah,
You
but
know,
like,
and
yo, if you're telling me you're not feeling good, or you got upset stomach or inflammation or something like that, like, or any, like, a lot of issues, one of the first things I go to is like, yo, what are you eating?
Mhm.
What are you putting in your body?
Mhm.
Just because I find that that's probably the cause of. How
Most
many
of
times do people go to, in, like, with diseases and shit like that, and they're like, yo, you gotta go on fruits and veggies diet, and if they commit to it, like, a lot of that shit clears up.
like Dr. Sebi says, you know, if you want to like cure a disease, the first thing I do is cleanse the colon. And what does fruits do? Like you're cleansing, you're
Right.
detoxing naturally. So when you're doing that, like even just that habit of like being consistent with it just for a bit, you're giving your body that time to reset. A lot of times, you know, I find people don't give their body time to like
Yeah.
just to like reset, you know, like fasting, like detoxing, like, and you mentioned like the meditation, like that, like there's a spiritual aspect to like healing, you know,
Even when it comes to, like, understanding where your food came from,
oh, for sure,
like, there's a little spirituality that comes along with.
source,
Right, right.
what kind of energy was put into it, like who's like,
Even like feeling your food is weird, but feeling your food when you're cooking it, bro.
yeah,
Like, get in there and get
yeah,
busy with it.
it's
like,
not weird at all, bro.
You gotta
It's not weird at
you
all.
gotta bless that shit for real.
You do, and it makes a big difference when you eat it, you know, like and when you're in tune with that, like it's something that you can't really explain. You have to feel, like when they say the food was made with love.
Yep.
Like that's a real thing.
Oh, bro, I'm
That's
in
a
the
real
kitchen
thing.
like a wizard, bro. I'm
Exactly.
whipping magic.
Exactly. And then when you know where everything is coming from, like there's just a consciousness that comes with eating, and it ripples effects into like vitality.
That's why my man calls himself the alchemist.
That's what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah.
you understand how everything works and energy. And
Let's get into this Dr. Sebi diet a little bit, because what I'm realizing now, probably over the past couple years, is like how much of an energy source we actually are, how electrical we actually are, and how these foods actually charge us. They're like conductors, because, like,
for sure,
with all the water, bro, like, we're just like ready to blow.
Yeah, we're mainly water. We're made up of, I think, what they say, 70% water.
Yeah, that's what they say. So it's like, if you put the right foods in, you can like electrolyze. I don't know how to say it. You know, you can like
the alkaline, like you that alkaline electric feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's like
the balance of like the feeling of like
putting water in the socket, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like that today. Actually, I made, before the gym, I whipped up a little like a little elixir, you know,
Okay.
and it was pretty much those herbs there, and I think I had like soursop leaf in there as well, and just like potent. I made it very potent, because like when you start to like work with like the iron and like all these different stuff, like you're really opening up the blood, like you see it, and like you just see it, you can feel it in like your skin, you can feel like your skin gets warmer, like because it's like the blood's flowing, and like, and took that energy to the gym. Like I felt like I was I felt like I was just like, I felt like Goku. Like that's the best way to put it, you know, like, and you really feel that, you know, like this is not no like no Red Bull, this is not a pre-workout, this is not, no, these are herbs.
Yeah,
these are herbs that like, and people are watching like, yo, this guy's like a maniac, you know, but like where's he get all this energy from? But if I actually told people where I got my energy from while they're seeing it, they wouldn't believe it.
Nah.
They're like, you're taking some kind of, you know, like
he's juicing
or like even just like some kind of like, you know, there's got to be something. It can't just be herbs. But no, this is the energy that comes from herbs and like sea moss and like just like superfoods. And
do you rock with matcha?
I do, yeah.
You ever heard of yerba mate?
No.
It's like it's a natural
the mushroom
caffeine. It's just like matcha.
Taste wise too.
I'm not sure about taste wise.
Matcha is good.
I like matcha. Like I was getting these all natural energy drinks, and they got like a matcha one, and they got a yerba mate, but it's like a natural caffeine similar to the matcha. It's supposed to be pretty good. Haven't really taken it by itself.
So is it like a powder?
Yeah.
Then you I'm assuming like mix in hot water.
I think you might be able to do cold still.
Cold too, so it dissolves.
But probably hot is probably best.
Matcha is good, but it's like it shows you like we get shown like, you know, steaks, burgers, this and that, coffee, you know, like, and it's just like a very limited view on food.
Yeah.
So limited that like I think veganism did help me open up to this.
Balance that plate.
Balance the plate.
Yeah.
Have so much variety.
Your plate's colorful as hell, bro.
Colorful.
Yeah.
And electric. And, and it can change every day, every week. Because it's like you've opened up to this idea that like there's, well, not this idea, but the fact that there are so many different foods out there.
Yeah.
And there's so many different ways to cook it.
That spice cover gotta be bussin' though.
It has to. If you're trying to enjoy the food, and what I would suggest is like, you know, looking into like different cultures, spices.
Yeah.
You know, and then using that in the foods you make. But like, you know, opening up, like you'll find like some Indian spices, you'll find Caribbean spices, you'll find Middle Eastern spices, you'll find, you know, some Asian spices, and then that's you can create
fusions.
You can make fusions. You can do whatever. But that variety, you'll never get bored of food when you're open to different ingredients from different parts of the world.
Yeah.
And different spices from different parts of the world.
I already knew there was a lot of benefits to turmeric, but I keep hearing more and more about it. Like,
it's getting used more too in like a lot of products. So I think I think it's really like coming out because like people, hey, this has turmeric in it, you know. Whereas they have that turmeric milk where you make you actually make it, and you make it with black pepper. So you like warm up a milk, and like, you know, plant-based milk, of course, and you mix it with the turmeric and black pepper, and apparently that's really good for inflammation. Like those two have like a really some kind of effect where it speeds up, it opens up blood flow and gets things going.
Damn, I'm gonna have to look into that.
And it tastes good too. So like, you know, I find when you do that with like a little bit of cinnamon, your favorite sweetener, and you drink that at night, there's something about it that's just, it's good.
While we're on the topic of sweeteners, and being vegan, what is your stance on honey? Do you consume it? Do you consider it vegan? I don't give a fuck what anybody says. I'm just curious.
Yeah. I you know, when I went vegan, there was it was a big part of it was the compassion.
Yeah. Part
of it. So it's one of those things. It's where when you hear something and you're open to being more enlightened and to broadening your horizon and your knowledge, you hear it and you can't unhear it.
Yeah.
You know. So when I first went vegan, but I was still kind of like dabbling into like some things, and I was making eggs, and somebody messaged me like, yo, you know what? This is what the industry's like. This is when they send me some videos. I'm like damn.
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess I can't do eggs because like I can't unsee that shit.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So it kind of ties back to the honey, where, you know, a lot of it is, you know, farmed. You know, like,
right.
And when you're farming things like it's like very kind of unnatural. It's like,
yeah.
You know, and then like you're kind of taking things away from the animal in a sense.
Yeah.
You know, and so I mean, it's not. I would have it if it was the only thing there, but I stay away from it for the most part, only because there are so many different options.
Right.
Honey, agave.
Do like dates.
Date syrup.
Yeah.
They have the date syrup too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
like your go-to? Nah, what's like your most prideful meal that you like to chef up? Like Shem's famous.
Since famous, I'll say like a curry, like a curry chickpea,
Yeah.
like a lentil fritter,
Ooh.
like a nice like jam-packed lentil fritter with like different like vegetables like sautéed into the batter,
Damn.
you know, and like with some like potatoes in it. It's like
You get busy. You make most of your stuff from scratch, right?
Yeah.
You don't even like do the process of everything.
Everything. I like it that way, and I think I grew up in the kitchen as a kid, doing a lot of the prep work for like peeling potatoes, you know, washing the rice, cooking the rice, like checking on like like all that kind of stuff was already like even I have a dishwasher, I still wash my dishes by hand because I'm like there's something about you know like
I gotta make sure it's clean out and trust the dishwasher.
I mean that is a big part of it, but it's also like it's like it's like you even wash it. I wash my dishes with love too because it's like yo, that's what I'm eating out of. You know, like there's just
you feel really good about it.
You feel good about it
for sure.
Yeah. Especially after like you whipped up a meal, like everything was made from scratch, and then the meal tastes bomb. Like, and I like to treat myself. So even when I make the meal, it's almost like I'm making it for myself, but it's like I'm outside of myself making it for myself.
Nah, that's real, bro.
You know, so like I'm serving it, I'm making sure I eat with my eyes first. So like the food, it has to be, even if it's just me, it's gotta be presentable. It's gotta like, you know, it's gotta be like as if I'm serving like, you know, like it's royalty.
But isn't that where it starts? Is like treating yourself like that?
Absolutely.
Before anybody else.
Yeah, and like
bro.
It's the best foundation to be at, where you're already treating yourself at the level that you want to be treated at,
right?
And then now when people come around, they gotta either respect that or bring reciprocity, or like it forces people to level up when they're in the presence, because it's like, oh, I'm already like, you know, moving. So it's like,
you know, I've
like
had
duality almost.
I find that it's really fascinating when it comes to image and your perception of people, especially specifically like how people dress or how people present themselves. You know, there's back and forth. People say what I wear is a form of expression, or I don't really care. Clothes don't make the man or woman, or like it's clothes are just a costume most of the time. But however, I feel like something has to be said about how you see yourself and your personal standards. Like if you're going to you're invited over to a dinner party, are you gonna be rocking like tank top and some surfing shorts and some flip-flops, or like you're gonna kind of dress up a little bit? I get it, like you don't have to necessarily impress people. However, the way that you present yourself is also a reflection on how you treat yourself, and out of respect for the people around you, it, in my opinion, it would be in your best interest to rise to the occasion in those instances. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts on that, those are good points, and like it's a good observation, because it makes up a big part of society. So it's a really important topic to touch base on. And I'm sure like there are a lot of different points of views. My point of view on this, like my perspective on this, is that, you know, your energy will always be what ultimately is what people are gonna see and feel. So like me, I'm like plain Jane, you know, like I love just like a simple black tea. But when I'm going out into a settings like that, the same way I like someone would be dressing up, putting on like Louis Gucci, whatever, whatever makes them feel good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing that to my energy,
Mm-hmm.
to my vibe, So like if I'm wearing a black tee, if I'm wearing a suit, there's my vibe is what I'm wearing there.
Yeah.
And and more times than not, that's what people are gonna be, attracted to, or drawn to, is that
Right.
vibe.
A lot of times people say when it comes to meeting somebody, they don't really remember what you said to them or what they said to you, but you remember how they made you feel.
Exactly.
Or how you made them feel. I think it was Chad Ochocinco. You remember him? He used to play for, I think it was the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah. I've heard the name. I'm not really too.
I think he IPO'd his name.
Yeah.
So he made his name like a publicly traded company. So he was making bank.
What's his business?
He was an NFL player.
After that, like, so,
I don't know
or
what
did
he does now?
Because like there would have to be like, what are people like?
But I recently saw him on an interview. Well, he I don't know, last year or something like that.
Crazy.
He was
I
telling
his name.
What's that?
That's sick though. Like if you have that, if you got that, if you got it and you can do that, like that says a lot.
He was saying like he saved probably about more than 80% of his salary playing for the NFL.
Yeah.
Like he would go to Claire's and buy fake jewelry because he's like, nobody needs to like attach what he's wearing to how much he's got. They're like, anybody can look him up online, find out, or like how he presents himself, and like his attitude is like,
that's what it is.
That's it.
Yeah,
his name. He said his name is worth more than
anything you can
whatever
wear.
You can purchase.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
your real value.
That's real value, 100%. And it's how you're making people feel, but the energy when you walk in a room and that's your, because I mean it's anyone can, like, they could be like a douchebag, they could be all types of, like, just like a terrible person, and they're gonna walk in there with like a $10,000 outfit, whatever, like tens of thousands of dollars worth of jewelry, and that'll bring like a superficial energy. But then somebody will walk in there and like they might got like a bag and they're just simple, and they will steal the show. Right. That person will steal the show.
Yeah, it's that it's the confidence, the swag. Yeah, like, you can't buy that.
You can't buy it. You can't buy it, and I'm a firm believer in that, because I've been able to get by without having to buy into that. Like, you wouldn't catch me spending like over a couple $100 worth on like a single item. Right. That, like, if it's not like a special event or something, that you wouldn't find me doing that.
What
But it's just, I guess that's just me.
What made you take that route?
What made me take that route was that
because it's easy to, in a time of social media, to just kind of,
it's like having that
keep up with the Joneses.
It's having that like back to earlier what we were saying, like having that from an earlier age, having that strong confidence in like my vision. Right. So I always, from a young guy, I'm gonna be a millionaire. Like I always just, I had that vision and I believed it. Yep. I wholeheartedly believed it. And that belief in myself, like I could go isolate, and I'm not gonna lose any of that, because it's not tied to the validation of what I'm wearing in front of people and what they think about, what.
You knew that young.
I knew that young, so I've been able to preserve a lot of my energy, like a lot of that, and not just preserve it, but have like you saw in the my earlier 20s, I was active. I was doing the modeling. I was doing men's physique. I was doing this. I was doing that, like acting, and so because nothing had to really be fake. I'm just here. I'm showing up, and because I'm showing up, these opportunities would present themselves to me because I'm just being as real as possible. So the attraction is authentic, you know,
Yeah.
because it's like, again, if you throw in a expensive suit, eventually people are gonna know like you're really a dirtbag underneath that, you know,
Right.
like, and then you got to clean up the after the repercussions. But like
Right.
when you walk in that authenticity, you walk with that energy, and you're true to yourself, and you are your first soulmate, you know, then it gives you more of that, like you can walk into a room and have more to give.
Yeah.
That
Ooh.
energy is like you have that energy to give because like I already filled my own tank.
Yeah.
So
Cup's already full.
cup's already full.
Yeah.
So when I show up, I'm not here to get the validation to fill. My cup's already full.
Yeah.
Anything you might be taking away from my cup, you know, like so bring some value, you know,
Yep.
so you can kind of like create that space where there's more reciprocity opposed to like, you know, you're going into rooms and you're constantly just being drained because you don't need to be there.
Right. Right. Man, I used to go through that, bro. That used to be me. I used to be a brand whore, just like whatever just I could attach myself with. But you probably realize just being an entrepreneur as well, bro. Like when you realize what you really want, just as quickly you'll realize everything that you don't want. And then it's like those things don't really help you attain that goal, or it's just going to deter you from that goal, man. And like it took me a long time to get away from that. Now I'm just plain tees and basic ASIC. As long as I'm clean, I'm good, bro.
Exactly. And the thing is, like when you wear the vibe, you don't miss out. Like you don't miss out.
Nah, I realize that as
like
well.
You actually don't. You, if anything, it creates more of like a mysterious energy to you, a mysterious vibe. People now want to know more. Like, why is you vibing so high? And he's so simple, but there's an elegance to that energy.
Right.
But I want to know more.
I think a lot of that comes with just being secure in who you are.
For sure.
You know.
For sure. 100%.
You know, I think like we got good taste in what we like, you know? And I think like that's all you need, man. Just be tasteful and stay clean, bro.
Exactly.
I don't go out. I don't do anything, bro.
And when you go out, it's like yo, I feel like the presence is a lot more appreciated. You know, like,
yeah, just quick pop out.
Quick pop out. It's like yo, you build more of appreciation for your space because you've respected your space enough to say, I'm not gonna just go into any room, anytime.
Especially because I do like the entertainment thing,
yeah.
And like a lot of times, you think the part of the hustle is to be out there and go into all the events and things like that, and I totally get that, but man, there's a lot that you can do online that of course showing face is always one thing, but I gotta know
your energy.
That's what's most important to me, bro. And this year I've really made it a goal to start saying no to a lot of things. I already said no to a lot of things before, but now it's like, oh, my plate is full, my cup runneth over. It's somewhat of a luxury to say no to certain things that don't serve you.
Most definitely. It's a luxury, but it's also something that should be more normalized.
Absolutely.
You know, it shouldn't be a luxury. It should be, you know, again, I mean, should be, could be, would be, you know, but it's just like ideally if we could all walk with that confidence of like I have my vision, I'm locked into that vision, I know the direction I'm going.
Yep.
I'm confident in that.
Yep.
So that now we walk around confident. But there's just so many layers in the system that we can that would just be a rabbit hole of like
I would be chasing clients. Like I would take whatever, I'd cut deals here and there and like whatever. And now I'm just like, I'm at that place where it's not that I don't need the money because I always got the bills. Those won't stop. But I'm looking at the peace of mind, bro. Like I want to be my best self when I'm working with you or working on your music And if it's not something that I'm really emotionally attached to or invested in or interested in, then it's in both of our best interests for me to say no, because I might not do my greatest work if I'm not as interested. Of course, you have to do things that you don't want to do, but there's something to be said about like really just doing what you love all the way through.
All the way through.
Being an entrepreneur is really difficult to do. Like, you know, there's levels to this shit, but
most definitely.
you know, there's gotta be a point eventually where you can finally say, I'm not doing these anymore.
Exactly. You have to if you want to grow.
Yeah.
You have to, because otherwise you just become like you remain like just like an overworked like employee for your company.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
like you're overworked, you're working, you're grinding, and you never actually become a business. You're just an employee grinding away in your own company. If you don't learn how to say no to things and to like know your value and to keep raising that bar.
Right.
That bar has to you gotta keep raising that bar all the time, like anything.
I'm finally getting to a point where I'm doing less trading time for money.
How are you doing that? Like through online?
Through online, doing more packages as well.
Okay.
To where there's not really too many time restrictions where
you can be up like at night working on some editing or like
or it's not really affecting anybody's like budget. Where there could be some unknown hours that might come up where they're not expecting. You know, if I give them a nice package and I deliver the value, then whatever that number is, I'm okay with over delivering that without feeling undercompensated.
I see.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, the balance. Because it's like you want to give, and a part of this too, like it's like I find in at least in sales, it's like a perceived value, you know, like and it makes it easier for people to spend money with on your services when, you know, for the lighting, when we do the lighting, we, you know, when we do our like an assessment with like a business owner, we let them know like we're taking care of, you know, the install, the removal, the recycling, the rebate processing, the financing, the everything, and so it's like that perceived value is so high that when we present the number to them,
they're like, that's it.
It's that's you can get that out of the right people. It's like, well, that's it. Like, but to them, it's like triple. It's like the perceived value is like triple.
Yeah, absolutely. They're looking at the dollar sign. We're like, that's it.
That's it.
But when you're listing off all the services and everything, they're like, fuck, this is gonna be expensive.
Yeah.
They're just, oh, that's dope.
Yeah. Even it's like, yo, the drop price is like, this should cost you 10 grand, but it's actually gonna only cost you 3 or 4. And then it's like, whoa, like, you know, that's I could do that.
Yeah.
You know, I could do that. That's worth it as well, more than worth it.
Right.
So back to like what you're saying about over delivering, it's important. It's important when you have the right packages.
Yeah.
Because if you're over delivering and like you ain't making money and like, you know, like, and it's not set up properly, then you're just that's just a pit draining everything out of you. But if you have the right package and you can over deliver and you can create that perceived value so high that they feel like it should be double or triple that, then you're set.
Yep.
You're set. You can sell those packages all day.
Are you like the lead salesperson for VTC?
Yes.
What is it like? Do you enjoy doing the sales? Is it something that like you're just like you feel like you're just like a natural at? I've never seen you like in the field crushing, you know?
It's I love sales. I love sales, you know, because what I've learned about sales is that it's in everything. Because sales is empathy. Sales is really just empathy.
Major key.
Really though, when you, because when I'm walking into like a pharmacy, you know, and you have from a different culture, different, different needs, different things that they value. You have to know this person or know this category of people from like to a point where you can know them in a certain area more than they know themselves in a way.
Not literally, but you're speaking their language.
You're speaking their language.
Yeah.
So if you're going from like a pharmacy to a warehouse building owner, like being able to
switch the lingo.
You gotta switch lingo or just like meet them where they're at, And so I think sales is natural to me because I've developed a lot of empathy over my lifetime, and I enjoy it. There's a part of it that I enjoy. When you're sitting down, like it's like a game at the same time because there's psychology behind it.
Yes.
So when like certain things like third party, like that's like a fundamental of the sales. Like when you gotta always use third party. So when you're pitching, a third party is just like using an outside source to build credibility of yours. So like, oh, it's on the news, it's on the radio.
Right.
Your neighbor John, he just got it done. Like it's like building that confidence in what you're doing.
Right.
Based off of something outside of you. So
something else is repping you, vouching for you instead of you vouching for yourself. That adds another layer of credibility.
Exactly. Like working with a government program and like so, and that's just one fundamental of sales. So when you're in it, like you're understanding. Okay, I got to make sure I hit all the fundamentals, and then you see it work, and then you it
forces you to really know about your business.
It forces you to know about your business, 100%. But there's a before I got into VTC, I was doing door-to-door sales. And that was a really good experience for me because you're thrown onto the field, knocking doors, and now you got to be that first point of contact. You're bothering somebody sometimes, like, and you're able to get to the point where you're able to like break down those walls right on the spot.
Right.
On the spot.
Real
life experience. Like somebody could be like, get the fuck off my property, what are you doing here? And then you throw in something like a match in a mirror. So like you match their energy.
Right.
So instead of being like soft, oh, you get louder. And you say, yeah, I understand, sir. One moment. And so they're like, oh. And then like you're like me,
Right.
And then you can kind of get in there and like bring the tone down. And all of a sudden you're at their kitchen table signing a contract. Yeah. And you see that all from empathy. You took the time to bring yourself to their position, understand them. I understand. I completely understand. Like bringing the walls down, and then you just go over for the sale. Like there's so much psychology.
Used to rejection too, because like how many of those doors were saying no? 90%.
Many.
Then you had to figure out how to do your pitch a little different.
100%.
Figure out what went wrong.
100%.
In the moment.
And there was a big thing I learned from Brian Tracy, and it was the idea that responsibility is the number one factor for growth. And he would talk about that.
Your ability to respond.
Your ability to respond and to take complete ownership over everything.
Ooh.
So like when I'm going to a door and somebody is angry, and instead of leaving that door thinking that person was a dick or this person was they weren't understanding, or it's like, okay, well, did I match a mirror? How's my body language? How's my tone? Was I confident enough? Like
taking full accountability.
So when I go to the next door now, it's like a snowball effect, because you're now seeing, okay, I'm in control, like, and you really are in control.
Yeah. That also, I was talking to somebody earlier today and I said, like, one thing that I find is so important for these young people to navigate the world and keep a level head is emotional intelligence. And I find that that's something that you were somewhat like forced to learn about in the field doing that, because a lot of that is emotional, or learning
Absolutely.
how to
Respond.
handle those emotions. Exactly. So like that match and mirror, like you could
always agree. They give you a rebuttal, always agree. It's never like you never want to go head to head. No, it's like I understand.
Right.
This sucks. This is a piece of shit. I understand. I get it.
You take your ego completely
out of it. And that's a big part of it, like just empathy. Damn. I understand. I get it. You know, yeah. I'm with you on this.
Yeah.
You know, what you're saying makes sense. It's like then it breaks down that wall, and that gives the opportunity for somebody to even see the value of what you're trying to bring them. Otherwise, you never even get to a point to even present to them. Now the interaction was just like a, you know, and away you go.
And again, you take accountability and know that could have been avoided, or that could have went different.
For sure,
had you had done X.
100%. Sales is important because it's in everything. You know, if like you're in a relationship, if you're parenting, if you're a leader in like a corporation, like if you're interviewing or you're being interviewed, you know, it's all that empathy, you know, like and trying to like put yourself in the other person's shoes.
Yes.
To create that, you know, understanding to bring things to the same page. But without that, then you're stuck in the emotions. You start responding with emotions, and then that's when that emotional intelligence is lacking. Because
right.
Yeah, it's powerful. It's powerful.
Yeah, it bleeds into different areas. Like even how you interact with your employees. Like a lot of times, it's people. Mm-hmm. It's just dealing with people. Mm-hmm. And just having those people skills.
Human to human.
You get that from sales.
100%.
Damn.
There should be like some sort of like a prerequisite or something where people learn sales. And most people I know who've got into sales, they've come out a little better, at least, you know, at least a little better in like in their development, their self, you know, interpersonal skills.
Yeah.
And those who've really taken on, they're able to, you could put them anywhere. And
yeah.
Put them anywhere.
A lot of people, like, I wish I would have learned sales or been interested in sales at the beginning of my journey, bro.
Oh, for sure.
I'm realizing it's probably one of the most critical things in the business that I really dropped the ball on in my early years, but I got to make up for it now. But
it's never too late, too, because, again, it just comes back down to just empathy, really. Right. And, I mean, there's the aspects of it where sales, the culture of sales, the culture, the idea behind setting these big targets, and like especially when it's like commission based, and you know, like I'm not eating unless I put in the work.
Right.
And when I do put in the work, I'm really eating. Like it's like polarity, you know, like it's the highest paid but it's the lowest paying. So like you.
True.
You gotta pick where you want to stand on that. You know,
you're pretty much an entrepreneur in that sense as
100%,
well, right?
100%.
You name dropped somebody earlier, who kind of taught you some things in sales. Did you have any other like mentors or anything that helped you kind of develop into the salesperson you are today?
I've always had this strong desire for sales, and I think the reason why is because it was the closest to entrepreneurship.
Yep.
So when I was 16 or 17, I did the door-to-door sales, doing the landscaping driveway services. So working for like Spring Masters back then.
Classic.
Yeah. Spring Masters, yo, it taught me some solid skills. You gotta push that cart down. Militant, straight up. And that I was drawn to that, you know. And, you know, I would just go to apply for all these sales jobs. So when I'm looking on Indeed or whatever, when I was, you know, trying to find jobs, I'm always looking for the sales job. what's the earning potential here? You know, like
It was usually higher than the average
exactly,
regular
100%,
minimum wage
hundred
job, right?
percent. And I was like, yo, if I go there, I'd supply myself. I'd be making more than minimum wage, and that was my
And it
mindset.
was still kind of an entry level job, right? But it was
Exactly.
all commission based.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So got into like the water filtration around that age, like vacuums, like what is it called? Filter clean vacuums. I did that
Yep.
for a bit. That was hard because you're just trying to sell $2,000 vacuums.
Damn.
Yeah, but like it was a lot of the elderly, like they love that stuff because it's like
they got money to
lifetime.
spend.
They got money to spend, and they like it had all these features on it. But like the idea was that like I remember I was selling the vacuum, and I'm learning all the benefits behind it. I would never buy a $2,000 vacuum, but I'm learning like centrifugal force, you know, like the way it spins and it comes through here. I'm like, yo, it has a little thing at the top. So I'm learning all the value. So I'm going in there raw into these people's homes, bringing this damn big ass vacuum into their home, like and trying to like show them the benefits. You know, I would say it was the most unsuccessful sales, but it's like because I never made any sales,
Right.
but it gave me like you're trying to sell a $2,000 vacuum, like yo,
Yeah.
it forces you to like level up because
Yeah.
it's like yo, you're trying to make even that one sale. If I even sold one, that would have been a huge confidence boost.
Right.
Like,
No, that's dope.
yeah. So I think back to what you're saying, like there was many influential, I think people I met along the way because I was learning from everywhere I went. Every place I would go to work for, I would learn from it, you know. So, but and it pushed me further into sales. Whereas some people, they go in, they have bad experiences. They're like, I hate sales.
Yeah.
You know, I got this bad experience when I was younger, and you know, it's like I hate sales.
I think
know?
that might have been me. I might have got started back at Spring Masters back in the day, making no money,
making no money. Bro, aerating, yeah, and that's what it is. You know, those experiences, like, you know. But I think because I was naturally drawn to it, I wanted to go learn more. I wanted to go like find that next sales job. So it wasn't like I'm just trying to go find. I wasn't going to try to find a job at Toyota or any of these. I was like, I want a sales job. You know.
Yeah.
I want a sales job because the earning potential is higher.
Right.
And that was just it. Like I could earn more, you know, and then, you know, I was learning about. I was selling. I went to work for this water filtration company. Around like 17, 18 years old, around 16, 17 years old, and I started to learn about the benefits of these water filters. And I was sold on it, so I was like, I could sell this because I feel like I've learned something, and I'm passionate about this. I can. That's easier to sell. So then that kind of like led me to like just wanted to sell things I was passionate about.
Right.
Because it's easier to sell. Like I feel good about selling this.
That's huge. I went through this little patch sometime around last year for about a month or two where I was feeling like really somewhat unfulfilled with what I was doing in the studio. You know, like
a creative block almost.
I record a lot of hip hop artists, and I'm not knocking any of them, but a lot of times they're saying shit that's detrimental to society. You know, violence.
That must
and
be hard.
Drugs and shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, is this all I'm doing this for? Is to help these artists go and like put negativity out there?
Real.
It fucked with me for a minute.
I could only imagine. I think that sometimes too, because it's like I know you and I know your vibe,
right?
And like to be in that environment and to like, because you have to like block off a part of you in order for their creativity to flourish.
Absolutely.
So then you're like, you have to, like, yeah, I could see how over time
I'm like, did I do all this just to feel this way, to get to this point where I'm feeling like I'm not actually being fulfilled? Like I have my dream job, but it's not. It's like, maybe did I ask for the wrong thing? And then I stepped back and saw the whole. For a second, I did, but then I took a step further back and saw the whole picture, and I realized, nah, this is exactly what I asked for, And I do get fulfillment because in some of those sessions, man, if not most of them, like this is really therapeutic for a lot of young people, especially these young males out here trying to find themselves or find their place in the world, and it becomes very therapeutic sometimes for these artists. A lot of times where they're getting value in other ways, conversation or a little feedback, and then I'm like, all right, like this is kind of like full circle completion where I'm my like plan C kind of thing growing up, like was like, yo, it would be dope to like work with youth. It's like, yo, I'm actually doing that. Didn't have to go to school to be like a youth worker or anything like that. It's like I literally just stuck to the path, and I'm like, nah, like whatever these guys are doing it's on them. I'm gonna leave my influence wherever I can, but nah, I think I'm making a bigger impact that other than just hitting record, man.
Absolutely.
Like, but it messed with me for a minute there.
Absolutely, and I can see how it could get to that point, But it's cool how it's inspiring. I'd say how you've taken it, like you hit that point, but you've been able to, instead of changing your environment, it's like you're just transmuting the energy differently.
Exactly. And
now it's benefiting not just you, but the ones you're working with.
Yeah.
With the same. With everything is pretty much the same.
You don't even notice the difference.
You don't even notice the difference.
Right.
And that's
like
powerful.
It's
powerful.
There. Right.
That's powerful.
Yeah. I had to just really think about it from a bigger, broader perspective for a second. I'm like,
it's like it is a part of your purpose.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it is a part of your purpose, because you can't really. It's hard to, and when we think about back when we were like young, and you try to tell us anything, like
I was just like these kids.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like when I see my son sometimes, and like like he's listening to certain kind of music, and I'm like, wait.
You knew what it was.
We were like listening to Nelly at like 12 years. It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes. We're 12, 13 years old. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like there was no difference. So it's like, instead of trying to like fight it's like you build them, you meet them where they're at.
Yeah, man.
So it's like you're not trying to like create resistance. So now they don't feel like that resistance now.
Thanks.
And well, he'd be listening to certain music, and I would get like frustrated and like upset, and I'm trying to change his I'm trying to like change his like what he likes or what he's being drawn to. And it's good, because he still needs to feel that resistance, like, oh, I'm not really okay with that, but it's also good that I have that understanding that like I gotta also get out of his way.
Yeah.
But be that example.
Right.
And that alone has been like powerful, because I don't have to be there like, don't listen to this person's bad, this person is, like,
yeah,
like feeding him that
you want to trigger that resentment,
trigger that resentment. Yeah. So rather, let him know like this is what it is, like give him like the like all these like different drugs and all these different things, like what these people are talking about, what it actually means, like,
right.
But not like trying to like stop him from like listening to it. Let him like figure out on his own that like,
right,
it's like an energy thing. It's an energy thing, and I'm noticing that. But I think with him, a lot of it has come down to aligning him with his passion. Same way when I was younger.
Yeah. And
all those things that got me excited.
Yeah.
Doing the same thing for him.
Yeah.
Like, this is what you really like to do. Let's push you in that.
Yeah.
And in that way, there's not really a need to try and like copy somebody else.
Right.
Because you're so in tune with what you like to do,
and he has the support from you too,
and the support,
yeah,
and that I find is is beneficial for everyone because there's not a lot of resistance, but the influence is still there without having to like, because you really gotta like, some of these things are like
Yeah, man.
some of the music is, and the kids are smart, so they're not just picking up the frequencies nowadays, they're really hearing what's being said.
Oh yeah, and they're repeating it.
They're repeating it. They're replicating it. They're wanting to dress like. And again, we were the same way.
Yep.
We were the same way. Like, I mean, luckily for us, we found our passion early.
So grateful.
So we found our passion early, and we turned into a business.
Yeah.
And that's a big component, with building the confidence. Like, when I look at like any kid, if you can find their passion and show them how it could be turned into a business some way,
yeah,
that builds a confidence. Like, yo, this is what I love to do, and this is what I could do.
Yeah,
this is actually a real life.
Yeah,
like I could actually do this. It's not just like, firefighter, accountant, this or that, like the things that you learn at career day.
Right.
It's, you can really build you.
And on top of that, you've set the example again. You've led by example to show them that it's possible.
Exactly.
Right? Like, you saw your dad same way, right?
Yeah.
Like, my dad's like blue collar worker to the core, so I didn't see that as like entrepreneurship as like a real thing until I got older. But, like, without getting too personal, like, your son's getting older now, and with like this day and age, like trying to teach them outside of school, do you find that is difficult with what they're being taught in school, what they're kind of bringing home with them, and kind of like how they can navigate certain things independently? Do you find that it's challenging?
It was difficult at first, but the reason why, because it was mainly when he was younger, that it was a lot more difficult, because he was still kind of getting through like this idea of like, when you have a creative brain and it's moving, it's creating all the time, it doesn't really fit well in the classroom all the time.
Yeah.
So it's getting over that hurdle early and teaching him how to learn the way he learns. So, for example, when he'd be studying for a spelling test, I'm not going to get him to write it out 100 times, because that'll just confuse him. Things will get blurry, and like, it's not going to help him.
Yeah.
So I taught him how to like draw the words in his head.
Wow.
And that was effective for like 3 months. We did that every single Friday. He had his spelling test, and he was 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10 with the bonus words without even writing it down. So that built confidence, because he's like, this is how I learn. Whereas if the school system doesn't necessarily give you that,
right,
that it's like a little luxury to say, okay, like, it's not a disability at all.
Right.
It's actually a gift. So that was the biggest hurdle at the beginning, because teachers weren't really understanding him. And so it's like, it would just come off as like he's slower, but that wasn't even the case.
Right.
And then it once he really built that confidence up, I didn't really have to like be on him, because it's like he had it, he was internally, he knew himself, like he knew his strengths, he knew his weaknesses, he knew like he wasn't the best writer, like he like sitting there writing things, but he would illustrate a lot.
Yeah.
But I would make him, like, when you'd write a book, he would have to, after a while, I'd say, no, you have to start writing things now. You got to start building that and tell us a story.
Right.
So that forced him out of his comfort zone. But he still knew, like, I'm an illustrator. Like, I can get things out a lot faster if I just draw it, like.
Yeah. So you're not trying to suppress that, but you're still trying to say, like, yo, like, grow.
You have to grow. Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. So, and then the things I would do from an earlier age is teach him about business. So he's always been around business from as long as he's been born. That's all he
start
knows.
his own business?
Absolutely, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's written business plans already. So like, and that's how I challenge him. If you like, he did like a business a vending machine business plan. Just like questions like where would you put it? How much would you charge? What kind of candy do you put in there?
Right.
What's your vision? Like, and it would challenge him to think. Like, watch little YouTube videos on like these people with vending machine businesses.
Yeah.
Like, and that made it build his confidence. He'd have his little business plan there. Like
real world skills too. Where you can apply some of that knowledge in school.
100%. So if you want to start a YouTube channel, it's not just like, let's start a YouTube channel. No, let's see how serious you are. So the thing with him, I'd write out questionnaires because the questions are powerful.
Yep.
Get some thinking. So if you want to start a YouTube channel, here's a list of questions.
Yep.
Are you serious? Then he would really show that he's serious. Come up with the
answers on their own.
He'll come up with the answer on his own. Absolutely. So I think once you do that from an earlier age, it's that they're a sponge.
Yeah.
They're a sponge. So then if you're giving them that foundation from an earlier age, you really can kind of step back because now they're confident in themselves. They're confident in their own vision. It's not just like a vision that's being planted in them.
Right.
It's like, this is my vision. This is what I want to do. Like, write out your goals. So you'd write out goals. I want to, things you have on there. Like, I want to own a bakery. I want to be a rapper. I want to own a Lamborghini. Right. I want to build an Iron Man suit. Things like that.
Right.
Like, yeah, write it down. You want to do that? Yeah, you can do it.
Right.
So it was never like limiting. So he's like, he knows he can do those things.
And that
if he really wanted to.
Right. And then it's not given to him either.
Exactly. He has to work for it.
Right.
And but he likes to work for things.
Right.
Because he's entrepreneur mindset. You build it, you earn from it. Like he's building a business right now and he's gonna be launching soon.
Damn.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout for that.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
I realize like there's so much that we learned in school that we don't apply to the real world. Like everything that it's like to become who I am today. It's like most of it was learned like outside of school, man.
100%. A lot of it's going to be learned outside of school. And if we don't teach the kids that, then society just builds them, opposed to like after school when they're doing all these things that like they're just so excited about, because a lot of kids aren't excited about algebra and learning about, they might have one thing that they're really drawn towards, if it's like history or whatever, math because they're really good at it or something, but like there's more to life than that, and they need to see that.
Yeah.
They need to see it because it takes a long time for the school system to really start to talk about them. Like when you get to career day in like grade 11, grade 12, they should already done knowing what they want to do.
Right.
Way before that.
Be really exposed to it.
No, they're not exposed to it. So getting them exposed to the idea that like the world is infinite and almost like pretty much anything is possible.
Yep.
Now build what you want.
So many other things about life just kind of like develop as you develop as an entrepreneur, man. Like it affects every other area in your life. Like if it wasn't for entrepreneurship, I would not be the same person whatsoever. I wouldn't know half the shit about anything in life. Just because like it's weird, but it kind of gave me power.
I get it.
It did.
I get it.
It gave me like
it's not like a power to like rule over somebody, but it's like
almost like a freedom.
It's a freedom, 100%. It's a freedom to express, to create, and then when it can turn into something that actually generate an income, you live in top tier.
Yep.
Like straight up, because it's like you're creating it, you're building it, you're really putting your heart into it, and then it starts to roll over into something that is tangible, it's real, it's paying the bills. You're like,
yeah,
There's something different about that.
Yeah.
You know? And that's for me. It's all I know. I went full time when I was 21,
Right.
and I haven't turned around since. So that's all I really know as an adult is to have that, like you said, that power and the freedom. And I wouldn't change it for the world.
Right. Right. Yep.
Like I'm gonna grind hard, but I have freedom and flexibility. But I'm still gonna grind harder than anybody.
Yep.
Like you won't outwork me, even though I'm not clocked in.
Right.
So per se, but like I'm still gonna have that apply that same work ethic. But now it's towards your own thing.
Game changer, bro.
It's a game changer for sure, most definitely, and it's something that kids should learn early. Like even if it's just like making little crafts and selling them. You know, somebody told me the other day that when they were younger, they made like this like a swing, and they would charge people to ride the swing.
Oh wow.
Like 10 cents a ride, you know, like
right.
It's like
smart.
It's smart.
Yeah.
Because now you take that to apply to the real world from an earlier age, and you understand that's how the world can work.
Yeah.
If you wanted it to, bro, it's a game changer for kids.
Yeah.
Because now it's not just like the cookie cutter. This is what you can be, like, you know. This is what, you know. No, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, you figure out, okay, how can I be of service and bring value to the marketplace, which is
exactly
real life.
Exactly. And I think that's more real life than what is being taught for the most part. Because at the end of the day, people really they desire that freedom.
Yeah. Most
people desire that. Whether they have it or not, there's a part of them that desires it.
Yes.
You know, and I believe it may have a lot to do with why people have like this whole culture of like hating work. Oh, my job, you know. Oh, my job. Like it's like, yo, if you hate it that much, like don't work there, you know.
Right.
Like,
right.
But that's such a strong culture because the idea of we're connected to work in a sense of like it's not supposed to be enjoyable, or it's not supposed to be creative, it's not supposed to be like free flowing. But I mean, in some companies you can't, you're limited. But
right,
then don't work there.
Right. Yeah, like
don't sacrifice your peace.
Yeah, like if you're 30, you got like another 30 plus years to go. Are you gonna stay there, or like you're gonna figure out a way to do something different?
Do something different. Figure it out quick. Like so quick. Like it should be one of the main things, because that's our livelihood. That's our vitality. That's our whole energy. And if it's made up of like being at this place that you really don't want to be at,
giving a third of your life
to, most of your energy, more than what you're, like if you have kids, more than, or your family, more than what anybody gets from you.
Right.
You're giving to this place.
You owe it to yourself to enjoy what you do.
You owe it to yourself to enjoy what you do at bare minimum.
Right.
At least enjoy it a little bit, you know.
Like, right.
While you're there, you know, and if it becomes unbearable, leave. Find something different. But I think that's what, when you give that earlier on view of like, this is what, like, the world's infinite, then you're not so, it's not so scarce to say, I gotta have this job, I can't quit, I can't go find anything else.
Right.
Yeah, you really can if you wanted to.
Yeah, some people don't want to sacrifice, their current living situation or lifestyle, and I've realized to value happiness, like number one, man, because it's how I present myself wherever I go. Like if I'm not happy, it bleeds into other areas of my life. So like, man, I haven't taken a vacation in years because I'm like, I don't need to take a vacation because I love what I do.
When you love what you do, like
my vacation's when I rest my head down.
You rest your head.
A long day.
That's it. It you're not trying to. It's less of trying to escape. You're not trying to escape work. because you enjoy work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you enjoy work, it's never really escape. It's one thing to take a break so you don't burn out.
Right.
That's a different story. Because that's just being aware and being in tune. Saying I'm not gonna allow myself to get to that point, but
Right.
it's different when you enjoy what you do, and a vacation is just a cherry on the top.
Yep. Yep.
You know, until it gets to the point where when you're so applied with what you love, what you do, that you're constantly progressing, you're constantly growing. That now it becomes fruitful, and then it's like go do what you want. You know?
Right. Right.
You know, like do what you want, and and if you're really passionate, chances are like you gotta drag you away from work.
That's me.
You know, like
Yeah.
let's go take a break. You know, like you
Yeah.
gotta drag you away from work because you love it so much, and that's ideal. That's ideal.
Do you think, because I know a lot of people who they struggle to find what they love or figure out what they love.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like you, and I know for myself, we have almost too many interests. Like we just got to pick one or a couple, you know, to really. Do you find that it was like because you were blessed to be exposed to so many different things that you were able to decide what you weren't interested in as well as what you were interested in?
Yes. I think being exposed to business early, it gave me the tools to be able to turn anything I like into money.
Yep.
So everyone has a lot of interest, you know, but that missing skill of like knowing how to like be creative enough and resourceful enough to turn what you love into like an income.
Yeah, that's a different game.
That's a different game, because it's like
It's
if you like flying drones, and like you just I just love flying drones, but it doesn't pay the bills until you can turn that into a business.
Right, right.
So it just forever becomes like just a little hobby.
Right.
But you love flying drones, but there's a real estate market out there that loves drone shots.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
And you know how to tap yourself in.
Every rapper I know will love a drone shot.
Every rapper, and that's what I'm trying to say. You can turn anything into
real talk,
into a business. But that's why I said earlier that it should be something that's taught earlier.
Right.
Because then now you can turn almost anything into a business.
Especially nowadays. It's more doable than ever. More doable than ever. Like there's so many different platforms, preset foundations already there. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of the groundwork's already been done. Exactly. And it's only becoming easier and easier because you have like even Shopify and all these different things, like Amazon, FBA, like they're just making it so easy to start a business that like people, it's actually becoming harder to get millennials to even work, you know, because they're so exposed to like, wow, I could just go like start this and do that. Yeah. I don't want to go work for a company. And the corporate environment is so stigmatized now for like everybody thinks that's like the worst. For some people it isn't, like, you know, corporate, like the corporate world. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some people don't want to do anything else but just like put in their quick 8 hours. But do they though? I think that's I think that's the deeper part that is missing out. Why people are feeling so depleted and so unhappy. They say comfort is the enemy of abundance. That's what I'm trying to say. But even like if you were to give them other options, right? There's probably a lot more options in front of that option that they currently have. But and I think it's like almost like it's like we're lying to ourselves as a society. Right. And then that it's like a. But some people like I agree with you, but some people, I think they don't want to put in that extra work. True. And most I think people, that's where it stops. It's hard. Yeah, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Entrepreneurship's hard. Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. You know, like it really is hard. And that's why 80% of businesses fail. Right. Because it's hard. Yeah.
And it's just easy to say, oh, punch it in.
What
Get
and
my
that
check.
was my that's what helped me be comfortable with leaving the corporate environment and going into entrepreneurship, because I knew that if all else failed, they'd be waiting for me with open arms. Corporate world, maybe not the job that I left,
100%.
but I mean, the
Because you
workforce.
develop yourself, all the skills, like,
Yeah, like
yeah,
I can always go get a job.
anytime.
Right?
Anytime.
So it's like, yo, while you're young, to all the kids out there, while you're young, take them fucking risks, yo.
You have to take the risk. You have to be passionate. Like you can't miss out on, you can't overlook the idea of like being passionate about what you're doing. You can't overlook it, you know, and the passion can change.
Yep.
And it will change. It'll evolve. And sometimes it'll just change completely, and that's okay. But just be passionate. When I was 20, I started Tri-City Deals.
Classic.
The hats, the snapbacks, the whatever, and I was passionate about it. Like, I loved it.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to the next thing, I was still passionate about it.
Yep.
Fixing phones, whatever. Like, I was just find little passions and tap in. And then that, just because it became a habit just to do what I like to do, eventually you're going to evolve, you're going to grow, you become more mature, and that same passion just evolves into what you're doing. Like, simply that, you know? Like, and then as you grow now and your likings change, and maybe your vision becomes bigger because now you can see more, you got more wisdom, more knowledge. That foundation of just doing what you're passionate about, it'll roll into the next step of like your growth.
Absolutely. And it's weird, like the successes that come along with the growth, it's like it only happens when you reach those heights. I guess those successes aren't going to come down to your level. You have to go and rise to that occasion and go up there and get it. I forget what I was gonna say. I think it was like when it comes to, yeah, you said the word. It was like simply, like simple, like really tapping into those emotions and being simple and just like listening to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, what is your body telling you? And this is where I was going with it. Like, it's one of those things, like, as you grow, you just start unlocking these new levels. Mm-hmm. And they say the 20s is for really exploring and messing around and making mistakes and trying to really build that foundation a little bit, put yourself in that direction. They say the 30s is the decade of more so refinement. Mm-hmm. Taking all the things that aren't useful, kaizening your whole situation. Mm-hmm. But the 40s, they say, is like where you're like in that peak mode, you know? Right. So anybody who feels like they should have made it by like 25, like,
oh yeah,
yo, don't short yourself, you know?
You still have a good amount of time to make more mistakes.
Right.
Take bigger risk and make more mistakes. You actually want to be making more mistakes.
Absolutely.
In that time, because you can. It's the time where you could actually, like, you know, I've been running to a lot of just the youngins, you know, yep. and naturally they want to like what do I do? I'm just like I'm 21 or I'm 20, and I'm just like stressed. I'm like, yo, chill, nothing stressed about it. You're passionate. That's a big component right there. Focus on that. Make mistakes. You know, like dive in.
Fail forward and fail fast.
Fail forward and fail fast, and like that confidence it gives them, just to be like, oh, like I don't have to have it all right now.
Right.
And I think that ties into like, you know, just like I see a lot of like men and women, like they're having trouble finding that alignment, especially in the dating world, because a man is supposed to be grinding in his 20s.
Yeah.
And making those mistakes. But a lot of times women earlier, they're already ready for certain things.
Right.
So to them, it's like you might seem behind.
Right.
Because they're already ready for like marriage, kids, boom, 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 boom.
Right.
And you're just like this. You're young and like you're like you should still be. You're still trying to figure it out. So I find as like the young men, it's like if you don't have someone that's on that grind and they're trying to see your vision, it's not even worth it.
Right.
It's not even worth it, to be honest, because you need to be making those mistakes at that time. You need to be making those risks at that time.
Yeah.
You really do. And it's and unless you have like someone who's like really riding with you, like, because that could be a huge distraction now, and that could even throw you completely off course.
Right.
If you're not setting yourself up in the right environment.
Right. Right.
The right supportive team or partner, or like it's crucial. It's crucial.
Yeah, because you don't want like those influences to get to you.
Exactly.
Those different, and you know, when you're young, like it's easy to kind of just like feel like you know what you're doing, or you know everything, or your friends, they know what they're telling you is true or whatever, and it's like it's really not what you think it is. It's like nobody knows really at that age. Like
nobody, yeah. As much as you think you do, and you'll never know until you make those mistakes.
What I realized, like everything that like all the good things that I've earned or accomplished, the timing was right on time. It was like I had to grow into every single situation. Like I didn't skip a step, bro. Like I had to go through every emotion, go through every situation to really like be where I'm at. Like it's not exactly where I want to be at, the top of the mountain type of thing, but had I not changed my mindset or grew my mindset, I'd probably be like working a job, or like who knows, like just not successful in my business, you know. It's
missing out that fulfillment, you know, like
there's things that I wanted 5 years ago or wanted to accomplish 5 years ago that I'm now just getting to, and it's only happening because I'm just now putting in like the real work of like growing that and like developing that. It's like I couldn't have rushed anything. Nothing's late, nothing's early. It's like it's right on time, bro.
Right on time.
It's weird.
It makes perfect sense, you know. It does, you know, like at least to me it's not weird, you know. It just makes sense. It just makes sense, you know. A lot we see anything that's usually rushed falls apart. Most things that are rushed falls apart at some point or another down the line. And you know, when you listen to the intuition, it's different. It's intuitive. It's an intuitive approach to like just following your dream. Like not too much in the past, not too much in the present,
right?
Not too much in the future. Present.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's mystical.
Yeah, it's almost like teleporting, you know.
In what sense? Like
and like you can put your mindset into the future real quick, or put your mind in the future and kind of see what you want it to be like, and like reverse engineer that back into the present, so you can kind of see what you got to do now.
100%. Yeah.
Like literally, like this is all like my current situation is all a manifestation of stuff that I wrote down 5+ years ago, bro. Like
very intentional.
Very.
And that's key. Gotta be intentional. But that comes back down to knowing what you want, being true to yourself and loving yourself, and putting yourself first, you know, so that you can give back, you can be of service, because you're taking care of, your cup is overflowing.
Right.
Overflow your cup, and then it's just so much easier to pour out into others.
Facts.
Yeah. Blessing.
Should we wrap this up?
Let's wrap it up.
Shit.
Yeah, we went hard.
Man, so many gems. I really enjoy catching up and chopping it up. I feel like the listeners and viewers are going to get tons of value from this. So, man, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
No, pleasure's all mine, bro.
Ah.
Once again, Shemora Davy in the building. VTC Energy Solutions. Tell them where they can find you at.
You can find me on social media, The Alchemist CEO, Instagram, TikTok. I have my little TikTok, not here and there. And, you know, just, you'll find me around. You'll see me around.
That's it.
That's
VTCEnergySolutions.com.
.com, yeah.
And we got Kure Alkaline Herbs.
.com.
Yes. Available for purchase.
Yes, sir.
Sarsaparilla root, ginger root,
everything.
And what soursop, sea moss,
you name it.
Get right.
Medina, all of it.
Okay, that's what's up.
That's what's up. Health is wealth.
And we'll see y'all on the next one. Peace, love.
Hey,
dog.
Hey.
Love you, bro.
Yeah.